How to turn nothing into something. And here's a little gist of what I've been covering. First, to turn nothing into something, you start with ideas and imagination. Now, it's hard to call ideas and imagination nothing. How tangible are ideas and imagination? It's a bit of a mystery. So you can't really call ideas that can be turned into a hotel, ideas that can be turned into an enterprise, ideas that can be turned into the Salk vaccine, ideas that can be turned into miracle products, ideas. You couldn't really call the idea nothing. It must have some kind of substance. And imagination can't really be nothing. We call it nothing because it isn't like tangible. It isn't like a podium. It isn't that real. But it is almost real. So to turn nothing into something, you start with ideas and imagination. Interesting. Ideas that become so powerful in your mind and your consciousness, they seem real to you even before they become tangible. Imagination that is so strong that you can actually see it. You can actually see it. When I built my first home for my family in Idaho all those years ago, before I started construction on this home, I used to take my friends and associates out to the vacant property and take them on a tour through the house. Is that possible? Is it possible to take someone on a tour through an imaginary house? And the answer is yes. I used to say, this is the 3-car garage, and the guy would look and say, yes, this garage will hold 3 cars. Right? I mean, I could really make it real, make it live. I would take them on a tour through the house. Here's the fireplace, and this fireplace is brick on one side and it's stone on the other side. I could make it real. Here's the rest of the house. Here's the kitchen with this view window. And they would look out the window as I took them on this tour. So imagination, we call it nothing simply because nothing in terms of being tangible. But it is so real, it's almost real. So the first step is to imagine the possibilities. Imagine the possibilities. One of the reasons for seminars and sermons and the lyrics from songs and testimonials of others is to give us an idea of the possibilities. To imagine the possibilities. Now here's the second step of turning nothing into something. And that is to believe that what you imagine is possible for you. To believe that what you imagine is possible for you. And we become supported by testimonials that say something like, if I can do it, you can do it. And we start believing. First, we imagine what's possible. Second, we start to believe that what's possible is possible for us. We might also believe because of our own testimonial. Here's what our testimonial might say. If I did it once, I could do it again. If it happened for me before, it could very well happen again. So we believe not only the testimonials of others who say, if I can do it, you can do it. If I can change, you can change. If I can start with nothing, you can start with nothing. If I can turn it all around, you can turn it all around. Then we also have the support of our own testimonial. If we've accomplished something before, if we did it once, we can do it again. If we did it last year, we could do it this year. So those two things are very powerful. Now, they're not actual substance, although they're very close. One is to imagine the possibilities. Two is to imagine that what's possible is possible for you. Here's what we call that second step, faith to believe. In fact, one writer said this: faith is substance. An interesting word The powerful ability to believe in the possibilities that are possible for you. If you have faith to believe, that faith is substance. Substance meaning a piece of the real. Now, it's not the real. It's not the podium. But it is so powerful that it's so close to being real. So the writer said the faith is a piece of, the substance of. And then he called it evidence, substance and evidence. So it's difficult to call substance and evidence nothing. It is nothing in the sense that it can't be seen except with the inner eye. You can't get a hold of it because it isn't yet tangible. But it is possible to turn nothing, especially ideas and imagination. Now, if you believe that it's possible for you, that substance and evidence becomes so powerful that it now can be turned into reality. So the first step is to imagine what's possible. Second step, to believe that what's possible is possible for you. Now here's the third step, and that is to go to work and make it real. You go to work and make it a podium. You go to work and make it a hotel. You go to work and make it an enterprise. You go to work and make it good health. You go to work and make it an association. You go to work and make it a good marriage. You now go to work and make it a movement. You make it tangible. You make it viable. You breathe life into it. And then you construct it. That is such a powerful ability for all of us as human beings. I just wanted to take the time to drop that in before I move on to so many other subjects. How to turn nothing into something. Now here's the last part. It takes the disciplined activity to turn nothing into something finally. Faith without the activity serves no useful purpose. But faith invested into the activity creates reality. Once I understood that, I knew then it was possible to build a career. I knew it was possible to build good health. I knew it was possible to build a relationship. I knew I could participate in the constructing of valuable things, valuable enterprises, valuable things that would help and benefit other people. I knew I could be part of it, and I knew I could do it once I understood this formula. So here's the last part now. Appreciate now the disciplines that turns imagination into reality. Because without the disciplines, it doesn't work. The discipline is the last piece of the miracle process. The last piece of the miracle process is to do the work. To do the work of good health. To do the work of a relationship. To do the work of building this hotel. Incredible. So now here's the next one, especially I'm sure for this mature audience that have come to be with me on this weekend. To welcome the disciplines. Now, unless you're mature and unless you really understand, some people have said, I wouldn't want to welcome disciplines. They're distasteful. But once you understand that they are the miracle piece of the process, then you welcome the discipline. That's why I'm sure the ancient formula said 6 days of discipline. That's a good word to add. 6 days of disciplined activity creates the miracle of your living, creates the miracle of a fortune, creates the miracle of a city, creates the miracle of a polio vaccine, creates the miracle of music. Ideas and imagination, believing in the possibilities, and then invest the imagination and the faith into the disciplines. Guess what they call artists, writers? They call those achievements disciplines. They call them disciplines. Not random activity, but disciplined activity. Not just rushing at something blindly and flailing your arms and your muscles at it. No, disciplined activity creates harmony. creates music, creates an association, creates an enterprise, creates something tangible, visible, viable, workable. Whether it's a political institution, a religious institution, all things workable in the human experience have come from this such formula: imagination, faith to believe it's possible, and then go to work and make it. Here's the next important law, called the law of faith. We covered it a little bit earlier in a fairly simple form. Faith is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. Faith, though, can turn difficulty into reality, positive reality. And I just want to give you this quick little line up here because it's so important to ponder it and then work it. Here's what faith is for. Number one, faith is the ability to see it as it is. Faith doesn't mind seeing it as it is because faith is a miracle worker. Faith does not ignore the negative. Faith uses the negative. Because if there was no negative, there'd be no need for faith. If everything is okay, what would you need faith for? You need faith because it isn't okay. Now, what isn't okay? Who knows? The situation that isn't okay isn't okay. So here's what faith does. Number one, faith does not ignore the negative because faith now stands as the miracle worker if you let it work. So faith sees it as it is. If it's ugly, it's ugly. If it isn't working, it isn't working. If it's a mess, it's a mess. It doesn't hurt to call a mess a mess. You don't need to fancy it up here. If it's broke, it's broke. If it's miserable, it's miserable. Faith doesn't mind admitting that. Faith doesn't mind seeing that. Here's why. Number one, you can see it as it is. That's the beginning of faith, seeing it as it is. Now, here's the second step of faith. See it better than it is. Couldn't you see beyond the mess? The mess is for today. Couldn't you look into tomorrow? The answer is yes, I guess I could look into tomorrow. Humans have this incredible ability to look into tomorrow, to look into next week. So we not only have the ability to see it as it is, the beginning of faith, but to see it better than it is. Dream the dreams, make the plans, visualize. Use your imagination. See it better than it is. Now here's the third step that turns faith into reality. Make it better than it is. Faith now must be invested in the muscle. But if you invest faith now in the action, you can take any situation and make it better than it is. Next. In the beginning of faith, seeing it as it is. Don't see it worse than it is. Don't blow it out of proportion. Some people have this tendency to blow it all out of proportion and say, well, it can't be that bad. If it's this bad, that's how bad it is. You don't need to multiply how bad it is by 10. That's not necessary here. Just as it is, that's the deal. As it is. Don't see it worse than it is. Now here's the next unique key to faith. Don't see it for more than it can become. There's a thin line between faith and folly. Yes, it's possible to see yourself as a millionaire, but not overnight. Someone says, well, yes, I can see that. Don't see it for more than it can become in a reasonable period of time. Yes, if it dropped out of the sky overnight, but that's not likely. But it's still possible to be a millionaire. It's still possible to be rich and wealthy. So don't see it for more than it can become so that you move into folly instead of faith. Plenty is possible without being foolish in your faith exercise. But now here's two more cautions. Number one, it might be worse than you first see it. You better look underneath. Because sometimes you just look at the surface. You better take a look. So that you can really see it as bad as it is. Not to overblow it now, but to make sure you see it as bad as it really is. Now here's the next one. give yourself a chance to understand that it could be far more in the future than what you can first see. By faith, here's all you can see. Guess what the disciples were always saying? Increase our faith, increase our faith. The miracles that we see here gives us a certain amount of faith, but it looks like we need some more, we need some more. But you take the first step. Take the first step of what you can see, but give yourself a chance to be able to see it for more than what you first see. On a foggy night, if all you can see is 100 feet, here's what you do. Walk that first 100 feet, now you can see another 100 feet. You can't see the 200 feet. But if you can see 100 feet, you walk the first 100 feet, now you can see another 100 feet. So I'm asking you to take the early steps of faith, whatever you can see it possible to become. Start believing that. Have faith for that. And I'm telling you, as that starts to exercise, you'll be able to see it for more and for more and for more. The possibilities will start to increase in your own imagination. Here's a little subject called How to Turn Nothing into Something. Number one, first, imagine the possibilities. Imagination is the first step of the miracle of possibilities. Reality first starts with imagination. Now, it's hard to call imagination nothing, but it's not something in terms of a podium. It's not tangible. So it's hard to say how to turn nothing into something, because nothing is, there isn't anything that's nothing. Everything is something, even if it's the imagination, it's something. Einstein once said, there's nothing faster than the speed of light. And Bill Bailey, one of my mentors, current mentors and longtime friend, said, maybe here's something faster than the speed of light, and that's thought. It's possible that thought could be faster than the speed of light. How fast can you think back and think ahead? I guess we can't say the exact same instant, but all we can say is it seems like the exact same instant. You know, if you don't know the truth, you can't say that's true. And if you're not a scientist, it'd be, a little out of order to say, yes, this is true. But here's what it seems like. It's possible to think back and ahead at the same time. I mean, how fast is that? Now, how to turn nothing into something. Number one, imagine the possibilities. Today, if we had a chance to hear everybody's testimonial of how you got where you are, some of you went from nothing to something. Some of you went from pennies to fortune. And if we had a chance to hear everybody's story here today, took the time, guess what those stories would conclude? Those stories would conclude the possibilities are absolutely endless and unlimited. So number one, imagine the possibilities. Read an inspiring book one more time, how someone went from nothing to something. The possibilities, they're unending. Now here's the next step. Imagine that some of the possibilities are possible for you. We call this now faith. Now we start with imagination, now we generate faith. What generates faith? Faith is generated sometimes when the testimonial closes like this. If I can do it, what? You could do it. I started behind. I started under the basement, not in the basement. I started with debt, not surplus. I didn't start with pennies. I had no pennies. Debt's up to here. Finally got it turned around. Now everything's flourishing. That's what we want to hear. And then someone in a testimonial like that says, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Here's what that does. Reassures our faith. Keep reading, keep listening to the testimonials. One, that excite the imagination as to the possibilities. And number two, helps faith to occur. That what's possible for one is possible for another. Now here's the third step of faith. are the third step in the miracle process. To deposit your imagination and faith into high activity. Disciplined activity. Not just activity, but skillful discipline. Take the classes to learn the skills. Get around people that'll teach you the disciplines. And then deposit your imagining the possibilities and believing that it's possible for you. Deposit that now into what we call high activity. Make this note now. Activity finishes the miracle process of turning nothing into something. Activity finishes the miracle process. I'm positive that's why the formula was given of 6 days of working miracles and 1 day of rest to ponder how it's going. How is my miracle working process working? Have I missed some? Devote 6 days to the working of miracles. The 7th day to rest and reflect and go back over and a bit of study. Yes, spiritual. Yes, church. Yes, synagogue. Yes, family. Yes, social. Yes, friends. But see if you can't now come up with a plan to increase your activity or refine your activity. Sharpen it so that it produces major results.
It was people's opinion of me that changed. You know, I got more, and I'm the same dude, but your opinion of me has changed. Now you think I'm all that. When in actuality, I really am humbled by all this. I really can't believe God let me have it. I'm clear about that. I am so clear about that. It ain't me. It's not me. See, I know the decisions I made, and I know how it got me where I got to. I know how my life turned out when I gave it over to Him. I gave my life to God. Now, I may not be the Christian you think I ought to be, but once again, your opinion of me, it doesn't matter to me. I've just learned not to allow people opinion of me to bother me or stop me. Publicly, man, I've been ridiculed and ate alive on that internet. You this, he think he this, I can't stand him. He this, he that. You know, I've been everything on the internet. I don't care. When you get through reading that stuff, cut your TV on. Turn it to almost any channel you want to. 7 days a week. The little dude that you keep hating on, that God I serve, he ain't hated me yet. He ain't hated me not now time. And I've discovered something. Look, man, what God got for you, nobody, no hater, no employer, no coworker can stop nothing God has for you. God is in the blessing business, but better than that, He's in the forgiving business. See, if God wasn't a forgiving God, I'm not here today. But God had to forgive me. See, I just never let my failures define me. See, when you make a mistake, just get up and go again. What you tripping for? I made public mistakes, man. Let me tell you something, man. When Miss Universe, I have to apologize. I took that myself. You know how many people wrote me off? You know how many letters I got from TV execs? We're proud of you for doing the right thing, but oh my God, a horrible mistake. I hope you're gonna be okay. You hope I'm gonna be, my career over because of that? People wrote me off. You know what? I just got up. I kept coming to work. I'm back. I just kept coming. I kept showing up. Because eventually, well, what you gonna do? The time has come. You know, my father used to always tell me something. You're gonna either get over it or die mad. You got two choices. You can get past it or you can die mad. Now, if you want to die mad, carry your ass on. And just die mad. But God forgave me, so I got up and I kept going. Your mistakes don't define you. Life is 10% what happened to you, is 90% what you do about it. I just stood up like I had some dignity. And I just kept performing, kept telling jokes, kept entertaining people. To the part now where it don't even matter. That pageant is the biggest pageant they've ever had. Just keep living, y'all. Keep waking up in the morning.
Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is and how you need to fight it. Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you. God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Hear me well on this day. This day when you have reached the hilltop and you are deciding on next jobs, next steps, careers, further education. You would rather find purpose than a job or a career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it. If it's meant for you, God will move someone that's holding you back away from a door and put someone there who will open it for you. I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. Press on with pride and press on with purpose and appreciate what God has brought you through.
Let's imagine for a few moments what our life would be like if we could access, let's say, 20% of our brain's capacity.
If you want to have something show up in your life, the kind of person you would like to become, manifest something new into your life, something powerful, whatever it might be, you obviously must first be able to imagine it. Your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. So, what kind of attention do you place on your desires? Einstein's most famous quote, one of his most famous observations, he said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Make your future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That which you feel yourself to be, you are. And you are given that which you are. So assume the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your wish. And your wish must be realized. So live in the feeling of being the one you want to be, and that you shall be. If this assumption about what you would like to become is persisted in until it becomes your dominant feeling, the attainment of your ideal is absolutely inevitable. You must first assume the feeling of a wish fulfilled in all aspects of your life. Don't allow anybody else's opinions. Don't allow what it says on the internet. Don't allow the research. Don't allow what anybody out there tells you is possible or not possible for you. If you advance confidently in the direction of your own dreams and endeavor to live the life which you have imagined, you will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. It will chase after you if you can place into your imagination what it is that you would like to attract and begin to feel it. Start retraining your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind, it responds to what it is that you suggest to it. Your subconscious mind rules your life. 96 to 97% of everything that you do is done as a result of your subconscious mind. And when your subconscious mind gets programmed, it goes ahead and responds to whatever it is your conscious mind has placed into it. You are the creator. This is the mystery. This is the great secret known by the seers and prophets and mystics throughout the ages. This is the truth that you can never know intellectually.
Many of you, as I have been, as I am, are where you are in your life based upon what you believe. And it's not just what you think you believe on the surface, it's also your shadow beliefs that are holding you back from moving into the life that you believe you deserve. What I know is if you're not looking at the shadows, if you're not looking at what is subconsciously running through the tape in your mind, telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not smart enough, you're not enough, which is a tape that's playing for a lot of people. If you're not conscious of that, then you end up acting out of that belief system and not out of what you know to be the truest or want to be the truest for yourself.
You are where you are today, in part because of what you've been saying about yourself. Words are like seeds. When you speak something out, you give life to what you're saying. If you continue to say it, eventually that can become a reality. You are planting seeds when you talk. At some point, you're going to eat that fruit. My challenge is make sure you're planting the right kind of seeds. If you want apples, you have to sow apple seeds. If you want oranges, you can't plant cactus seeds, poison ivy seeds, mushroom seeds. You're going to reap fruit from the exact seeds that you've been sowing. In other words, you can't talk negative and expect to live a positive life. You can't talk defeat and expect to have victory. You can't talk lack, not enough, can't afford it, never get ahead, and expect to have abundance. If you have a poor mouth, you're going to have a poor life. And this is great when we're saying things like, I'm blessed, I'm strong, I will accomplish my dreams, I'm coming out of debt. That's not just being positive, you are prophesying victory, prophesying success, prophesying new levels. Your life will move in the direction of your words. But too many people go around prophesying just the opposite. I never get any good breaks. I'll never get back in shape. Business is slow. I'll probably get laid off. Flu season is here. I always get it. They don't realize they are prophesying defeat. It's just like they're calling in bad breaks, mediocrity, lack.
You don't become what you want because so much of wanting is about living in the space of what you don't have. That's why Jim Carrey's story is so powerful, because he started to act as though he already had it. He would go up to Mulholland Drive, he would drive away thinking, I already have those things, I just haven't accessed them as yet. I believe those things are going to come to me and I'm going to act like they are, so I'm going to move forward in my life in order to draw that to myself in such a way that my actions are in alignment with what I say I believe. So if you start to think about that, really, why are you where you are in your life? The choices that you have made have been because of what you believe to be true for yourself.
Get off of Instagram and Snap and get off all these blogs and get into something that can really, really move your life forward. So when you spend so much time in the blog world, the Instagram world, the chat world, you're wasting valuable time. If I was young and I had what you have, I had no technology growing up, nothing. You couldn't download a book. You had to go to the library, find the book, and hope somebody ain't told a page out that you want to read. That's what it used to be. Y'all got Google. You can Google anything. You all have stuff at your fingertips that can make you great. But if you could combine your technology, with your parents and your grandparents' work ethic, you could be rich, man. But you cannot erase the work ethic part. There is no getting around. Ain't no elevator to the top. You got to take the stairs. The elevator don't go to the top, man. Not in the world of success. Y'all got to start getting gritty, man. I hate it when I see young people wasting their time, wasting all this technology got, just sitting around in this world that's been created for you, that everything is instant. How you rely on technology, and it's a help to you. But young people, you got to get gritty, man. You got to develop some dog in you. You got to understand, you can't Google success. Go Google it. I've seen stuff hopefully you'll never see. And I've seen some things I hope one day you do see. But go Google exposure. It ain't gonna take you nowhere. I've been around the world, man. I have a life of convenience now. But in order to get the life of convenience, you gotta have a very uncomfortable life. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stop trying to do everything the short way. Stop trying to figure out the easy way. I got news for you, man. It's not happening, young people. You got to get messed up sometime. You got to get dirty. You got to get your feelings hurt. You got to get disappointed. You got to get told no. But at least then, when I see somebody trying and I tell them no, I try to at least give them something else. See, I'm not going to hand you a fish sandwich. I'll teach you how to fish.
See, most people want it easy. See, if you easy come, easy what? Easy go.
I was hoping that circumstances outside would change. Then here's what I found out. It isn't going to change. So then my question was, if it isn't going to change, how will my life ever change? And here's what my teacher taught me. When you change, everything will change for you. When you get better, everything will get better for you. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. See if you can find some ways to multiply your value to the marketplace. And he said your income will immediately start to change. You don't have to change the economy. You don't have to change countries. You don't have to change circumstances out there. All you've got to do is look within and see if you can change yourself for the better. And as you change, things will start to change for you.
The real problem, which, by the way, no one ever talks about, is that everywhere we look at society, we celebrate victimhood. We are no longer celebrating people who put in the work. We are no longer celebrating people who overcome. Instead, we are celebrating people who have the saddest story, who suffered the most. Well, let me tell you something, guys. You can compete for that your entire life and nobody's going to bring you a thing except a couple likes and a couple comments that people don't mean. The real winners are still and always will be the people who aren't immune from obstacles, but instead see obstacles as an opportunity to get better. They see this as the path to winning, and they are right. The only people that are going to win are going to be the people who recognize the opportunity to improve when they get punched in the face, which happens to all of us. So if that's you, if you're sitting there at home and you're posting sad story after sad story after sad story, realize that that's all you're ever gonna have. And I would suggest that instead of seeing life through the perspective of who's going to be the biggest winner of the losers, start being who's gonna be the biggest winner. There's nobility in that. There is nobility in overcoming hardship. There is nobility in overcoming obstacles. There's nobility in creating a story that other people are inspired by. You know why? Because it shows people what's possible. It shows people who are coming after you in this life what they can achieve. Our obligation to this planet is to make people behind us better.
Do more. Let me explain what I mean by do more. I remember I was in an office. I was brand spanking new. It's 2002, 2003. And Saturdays, we were all young, and there was a bunch of pretty girls in the office. And everybody Saturday night wanted to go to Dublin's. Everybody wanted to go clubbing Saturday night. And I was in the office, 5 o'clock, everyone's leaving. 6, 2 people left. 7, I'm staying. No one's there. 8, I'm staying. 9, I'm staying. 10, I'm staying. Everyone's gone. 11, I'm staying. By that time, I'm so wiped out, I'm not going to the club. I'm going home, reading a book, going to sleep. Boring to you, right? It's boring to you, right? Now, fast forward and ask me what places I've partied and have had fun with. You won't even believe half the stories if I told you. You would say there's no way in the world you've partied with prime ministers and governors and senators and billionaires and all this other stuff, because I didn't want to just get too excited about Dublin's. There was a time it was exciting to me. Again, how big is your purpose? How long will you put your activity with the efforts? And then does it match the standard of behavior that you want to put up? So do more. If a person leaves at 6, you leave at 8. If a person makes 100 calls a day, you make 200 calls a day. If somebody practices 3 hours, you practice 5 hours. If somebody practices 6 hours, you practice 8 hours. If someone reads 2 books, you read 4 books. Just do a little bit more. Do a little bit more. Subscribe to the now mentality. Subscribe to the now mentality. We'll call them tomorrow. We'll call them now. Well, what are we going to wait till tomorrow? Call them right now. What are you talking about? Let's call them right now. Do it now mentality. Work ethic is a part of it. Now. Do it now. Not tomorrow. Now. Now. Okay? Procrastinate tomorrow, next day, 3 hours, 5 hours. Let's do it right now. Don't fall for the work smart only concept. 4-hour work week is work smart. I get it. I respect it. Some people like that. Nothing big has ever been built without working very hard. And I'm talking very hard, very hard. It's Friday night right now while we're shooting this. Everybody's gone in the office. Everyone's going out to dinner. I just got back from Burbank, California. I got a bunch of other travels that's coming up. We're here right now in the office. Why are we doing this? Well, Pat, how do you find the time to shoot these episodes? You never miss a Tuesday and a Thursday episode of Valuetainment. Because some nights on Friday night, I want to go home and kick it and relax, and I don't, and we shoot these episodes because we're supposed to come to you Tuesdays and Thursdays. And do you realize, from the moment we said Tuesdays and Thursdays, we've never, ever done an episode that we've missed on Tuesday or Thursday. Why? It's part of commitment. It's part of showing up. So when people tell me, but I'm sick, I have this, I have that, then this is not your game yet. Then this is not your game yet, okay? Cut distractions. Cut distractions, very simple. You got to cut distractions. You're still going to have some distractions in your life, but you got to cut the distractions that you can cut. Absolute focus. Absolute focus. This is tiring. You got to train your mind to be focused. It's a muscle. You got to train your mind to be focused. You can do it. So when people tell me all these rhetoric, I need to take this medicine, I need to take that medicine, stop. You're looking for an out. Stop making excuses that you can't stay focused. Practice it. It's a muscle. Stay focused. Have a to-do list. Work ethic has to do with to-do list. What needs to get done next? Eat right. Work ethic requires energy for you to be able to last a long time, stamina, efficiency, for you to be able to go and you're not getting tired by 4 o'clock if you eat right. Cut the fat. Similar to cut the distractions, but cut the fat. There's a lot of fat. It's work you don't need to do. It's work that somebody else can do. It's work that makes you feel excited that you got stuff done. Not necessary. Didn't grow your business. You just want to go home saying you worked hard, but you didn't get nothing done. There are days that you work and you go home and say, what happened today to my business? How did the value of my business increase today? It didn't.
You know how many people here want to be a millionaire? Do you know how rare that is? Have you run the math? You have this enormous audacity, yet you're not putting in the work to get you there because you think somehow you've been tricked by yourself or somebody else that there's some system, that there's some fucking shortcut. There's no fucking shortcut. You've got to put in the work, lots of it. And that comes at the expense of golfing all the time. And that comes at the expense of going to every goddamn event. And it definitely comes at the expense of watching one more motivational video and 3 more books. You have to do. Doing is the game. The world is shifting faster than it ever has before. But The way to win is as old as time. Do the right thing and put in the fucking work.
It isn't a hat or a one change that you need to make. There is no other way around this. You have to do the work.
There is no short. There's only one road to be a damn winner. There ain't no shortcut. There ain't no bull. There's one way you freaking do it. It's sweat, it's blood, it's tears. There is no discount. There are no shortcuts to success. Stop thinking they are. And stop wanting people to put you somewhere that you didn't earn. Nobody gave you this. I earned it. Everybody say, how did you crack the code? I grinded my way through the code. That's how I cracked it.
It's hard work and dedication every single day.
There are costs affixed to my dedication. Having a six-pack of abs requires putting in time for sit-ups. And the cost of having abs means there will not be widespread adoption. Because most people don't want to put in the time it requires for you to look like that. They envy your results, but they are not jealous of your process. You're not willing to put in the work that it takes for me to be able to occupy this level of excellence. I refuse to bring myself down to the doldrums of average. Why? Because I work too hard. You ain't gonna reckon in one moment when it took me time to build.
Stop looking for a shortcut. Go find your reason and drive that you will. Then